Okay. So, we didn't have a lot of time, so we're going to skip some stories here because we're going to get into the meat, the big story we had for gaming this week, which was, it was covered a few weeks by a couple other podcasters, but we wanted to get a whole lot of people's opinion before we really covered this. So, Olympics, is now going to be possibly covering eSports. Whether you agree with it, not disagree with it, it becomes basically a philosophical discussion whether if it's going to be, because right before we get into the discussion, I'm going to give off the facts about this, and then we're going to go into the philosophy of which way it's going to go. And we're not going to go back and forth because we debate on it, it'll go forever. So everybody's going to give their opinion and go through.
All right.
Okay.
Go for it.
So the fact is, the Olympics games were originally created basically so people wouldn't be at war with each other. Okay? So the fact that you have an ancient Greek, you have a bunch of people that were at war a lot, so you get these people to go, hey, let's get, okay, there's no wars for this time period from this time period. Let's get together and have a sport, and we'll have a lot of fun. And they made sports out of some weird stuff back then. Like, one was out of, like, I forget, a funeral procession or something, the equivalent of it. It was really weird. They just made some just random sports at the time so they can compete. And they got together, and it was basically so people could stop fighting and release that aggression another way. And then maybe find out they're not so different of people. There's no reason to fight. And that was the original Olympics games back in ancient Greece. Now we skip a day, we have modern day with, like, ice hockey, we have basketball, we have baseball, we have, like, well, baseball wasn't in it for too long. Baseball is in and out. But still, we have these, like, modern day sports that are now in there. Still the same idea, but the only difference is we still have wars going on while the Olympics is going on, which is kind of ridiculous, but that's a whole other talk.
Well, that's
a whole other talk.
Not even part of it, though.
Yeah.
Like, they don't do it.
Yeah. So, we're going to get into basically the aspects of the eSport numbers. So, eSport numbers in general from Sports Illustrated and Bloomberg and Business Insider and Forbes have all distinctly showed the money-wise has almost doubled in the last few years, and the viewership has gone up to just the League of Legends. Was it 58 million people compared to the Super Bowl, which is 111 million. So they met up half of what the Super Bowl did in only a couple years, which took the NFL years and years to get to that number, and they did it only in a few. So we can distinctly, every insider and every sports basically guru, ESPN, all these people distinctly know, if you read all the business articles, they are going in this direction. So esports is slowly branching into this.
Not you.
It's slowly branching into this market, and they predict by 2020, it's going to be an insanely booming industry at that point, and it's going to be begin the takeover from physical sports to esport. So that's where we stand on where esports are going as far as the future. That's kind of inevitable. Now, the fundamental and basically the philosophy of it, of where generation gaps happen, is where we're going to get into it. So we'll let Grim take it off from the beginning. Now, where do you see this going?
Esports is going to be the most dominant sport in the world.
No. Your opinion of it being in the Olympics.
It's exactly where it needs to be. A sport requires three things. One is an audience willing to watch it. Two is money that needs to be made off of it, money that can be made. And three, a pool of players that progressively are getting better at the sport, so you can continue feeding into the sport. And esports has all of that, and it has money flowing into it left and right. It's got competition that grows. Like, if you look at League from 5 years ago to now, the level of skill has gone up so much, it's insane. And I just got shot in the face. Just over the past year, the skill level has quadrupled. It's kind of insane. And then you look at the money they're bringing in. There's no reason why this shouldn't be here. And the fact is, I guarantee you that if they put it on at the right time, it's going to be more watched than most of the Olympic sports, which will prove its point and solidify the fact that esports should be
all right
in the Olympics.
No, that was great, and it's going with the progression of the actual numbers. Bazinga, your opinion, and where do you think it's going?
Okay, I understand the whole thing with the money and the viewers. I completely agree. It's where it's going. But I do not believe it should be in the Olympics, because Olympics is a physical activity sport. Like, you run around, people exercise and train in blood, sweat, and tears. If they break a limb, they're done. They spend 5, 10, 20, their whole life perfecting this thing to get into what they're doing to win that gold medal, when these people that are playing esports spend a year or two playing this new game and perfecting that.
Yeah.
And doing that.
Yeah, but if they
It
get
just-
a
it's a-
hangnail, they're done.
It's just a slap in the face to these people that really push everything they've got to do this one thing, and then most of them just go home into their regular 9-to-5 job, versus a lot of these esports, that's their professional job and that's where they're getting their money.
Yeah.
Yes, there is the basketball teams and the professional baseball teams and stuff like that go over, but most of the Olympics people are just normal everyday people, and that's it's gonna end up in it, but I just don't believe it's correct.
Okay, so Rocket Raj.
Oh, you really want me to get into this? Because I'm going to tell you, you won't have any time.
Well, it's not a debate. Just give your complete opinion and where you think it's going.
My complete opinion is it doesn't belong in the Olympics.
Okay.
I agree with Bazinga in reference. It doesn't belong there. It's not a sport. It's entertainment. I mean, and yeah, some people utilize this time to play a game. That's how they make their money. Same thing with like skateboarding and whatever. But it's, like you said, it's physical. You got to be physical. These guys train in the Olympics. They train for years to get to where they are. And like you said, if they break a leg or injure themselves in one way or another, they're done.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree with you. It doesn't belong there. The one big thing I agree with in reference to it, about it being in the Olympics, it's going to be a big ass moneymaker. Yeah, it's going to make money for the developers, the people who are creating the games and selling the games. Okay, it's going to be a big moneymaker for them. It's free advertisement if you think about it. You got a guy sitting there playing Battlefield in the Olympics, free advertisement.
Yeah.
And then you got to have all the sponsors from these guys that are going to be wearing all this for Red Bull or whatever, Monster or whatever. It don't belong there.
One thing I forgot to say before Ben gets to his point is, with a lot of these games that they're put on esports, they're not going to be that game forever.
Yeah.
Versus with the Olympic Games, there's always got the
javelin, the shot put, the
you got the running. They're not going to throw spikes in the ground when you're running to update the game,
Yeah.
When it comes to these video games, they add all these updates. They got these new heroes and stuff like that. It's always an update, or a new game comes out, and that's going to be the game. So every 4 or so years when they have a new Olympics, it's going to be different games.
Right, it's going to be different
games.
Which,
yes, they add new games to it.
Around for 12 years, though.
But they're still updating it. There's different things that they add to it. Yeah, but it's
still the same game. It plays the same every time. It's just different characters and such. It's still, the gameplay is the same. It's just the skill cap gets higher.
And that's what it is. It's just different.
All right, so Ben,
you ready for this?
I'm ready for you.
All right. Yeah, it's a moneymaker. Yeah, there's no doubt this is a moneymaker. But you know what? In my book, this is ridiculous. This is not a sport meant for Olympics at all. Period.
No.
All right. And excuse my language for saying this. It's pissing upon the history of the people who worked hard to get into the sport of the Olympics. The people who worked to throw this javelin. That's not just throw, done. This is a sport they train for. They earn this medal. They earn this medal. They earn this medal. This guy is clicking a mouse.
12-hour.
Wow! Look at it this way. Phelps, world's greatest gold medal winner for swimming. I'm going to play a controller and I'm going to beat all his records with my controller.
It's pissing upon his record.
It's not the same.
12-hour practice days.
Which is still not the kind of...
They practice harder and work a lot longer than these Olympic people. That's how long they practice.
I disagree.
There's a lot of misinformation being spread with you. You got your opinion, but you throw misinformation. For example, injuries. Oh, they break a leg. You realize how fucked up their wrists get from this shit? There's a pro StarCraft player who had to give up his career after 3 years because he literally can't move his hand anymore. He has to wear a cast the rest of his life.
Because it's so hard to click a mouse, but when someone's training to swim, that's easy?
And then they break something.
No one's saying it's easy, but they're both very, very...
It's just all different.
All right, so...
Yeah, the physicality is completely different, Grim.
It's so everybody's made their... Because we're not going to get into a debate about it, because it'll go...
No, we don't want to get into a debate.
So, Grim, the debate can be in the comments.
Yeah.
So, okay. We all stated our opinion because
Close-minded for a debate.
it's a philosophical discussion of like where this is going, and this is a branch between the two. Okay. The way I see it, because I'm not going to give my exact opinion, because I think most people know where it is, but I can give you. I'm just going to give the exact facts. This is just where it's going. And my own opinion. I'll give you my own opinion on a sport. My personal opinion is that the muscle is just as strong as a muscle as your physical muscles.
Yeah, no,
And
I
there's no
agree. I
difference.
understand that.
The brain. You mean the brain, not the
The
muscle.
brain.
Yeah.
Well, we
Yeah.
don't. Actually, the reason why I say your mind, because we still haven't classified consciousness yet. We still don't know what consciousness is. So we're just saying your mind because we don't know if it's actually your brain. So that's.
But either way, you said the muscle is the muscle, and I'm just.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
you-
but it's the same as a physical muscle.
Yeah, you didn't
And-
say mind. You said muscle.
No, well, no, I said your mind is just. I
Yes.
think your
No,
brain
you
is
said
just-
the muscle is the muscle.
Anyway,
It's not another debate.
anyway, I'm not debating on that. But that's my own opinion, and I think it takes my own opinion. It takes just as much work to work that muscle as it does a physical muscle.
All right, but I know we're not supposed to be debating this, but think of it this way. Look at me. I'm a 300-pound male. I'm in the Olympics playing a video game. You have another guy that's the same size as me, but yet he's lifting 400 or 500 pounds. He's physically able to do that, and I can't. I don't
Yeah,
belong
but
there.
he might not be able to react intelligently at your
Yeah.
level as a gamer. So it goes both ways. Physically, you can't lift that shit, but if he sat down at that keyboard and tried to play that game, you could play for years and still be too dumb to keep
Yeah.
up with you. It's
Yeah.
both. There are both sides of this. You're just
Yeah,
ignoring the
you're
intellectual
absolutely.
side.
No, I
okay.
agree with you on that.
Okay, so overall between both because obviously everybody can see the rift here. The where it stands is that all these things are sports. You're both right. You're both completely right. Because all these things, all sports came from was recreational activity. Highlight, which we have over here in Rhode Island, up at
Newport.
Newport, was a recreational sport that Native Americans used to play. And now, you mean people, it's a big sport. All these things were. They all, like I was saying in ancient Greek, they had to make up sports during their first Olympics of like different ways to do funeral sessions and stuff because they didn't know what they were doing. They had to make things up just so they could have sports at that time. And okay, what do we do for fun over here? And that's what they did. They threw it together. All these things are what we do for fun. We're moving into an electronic age where everything is pretty much is done on computers. So it's just a natural move in the sense. And as the physical sports are still going to be around, they're just not going to be highlighted as much as the electronic sports in the future.
No, you're right. You're right about that. I do feel in the future that physical sports aren't going to be as popular as physical as games and stuff like that would be. But I just feel honestly by doing this, you're desecrating upon the people who made the Olympics for what it is. These people work hard for their gold.
But
these people are clicking a mouse.
Okay,
No,
but
I agree. I agree with what you're saying. Because we're becoming more technologically inclined in the universe to be. I think that's right. That's the way we're going. But at the same time, right now I don't think it's in a good spot. And the thing that I'm thinking of, and I can't think of the name of the movie, but there was a movie where
Roseanne.
Technology overtook and they utilized robots to settle their wars.
yeah,
One country and another country had these big, huge, giant mech robots that people ran and they used to settle the wars. So,
yeah, because and to Ben's point of desecration, we have already been desecrating the rule of the Olympics by having wars still going on during the Olympics.
yeah, true.
So we've already desecrated that memory.
Originally, like he said, the Olympics were designed to stop the war.
We've already desecrated that memory.
But why go forward with it? Why?
Because of technology. I agree.
Technology is going to change things.
I know that, but why? But if we're already desecrated, then why are we still going forward with it? Like these people are working hard for their medals.
No, I know.
Well, they are working too.
Robo-Jocks, that was
The
it. Thank you.
That's the thing you're missing. The gamers put in fucking 12-hour days to do this shit. Fucking
Watch
insane
your mouth, please.
pressure on their brain trying to keep up with this stuff. The people burn out because of how hard this stuff is. The skill level is so high that people burn out rapidly because of how the sheer amount of pressure there is to play well. And you act like it's not hard to do. You couldn't
it's
do
hard
it.
to do,
I
but there's-
couldn't do it.
But there's a place called MLG. There you go. There's your Olympics.
Yeah, but here's the
But
problem.
there's also like the NFL,
The Olympics
the
is
NBA.
filled with a bunch of
There's all
sports
these
no one
individual
cares about
things, too, though.
anymore. That's
Yeah.
the difference.
So
Because NBA's in the Olympics, and for a while baseball was in the Olympics.
yeah, it wasn't popular
NHL's
enough,
in
though.
the Olympics, even though we have, you know. So
Yeah.
I do get it, but right now, just personally, I just don't think it should be there.
Yeah.
I think it needs time, and now is not that time. That's just my
If
opinion.
you don't think it belongs there, that's fine. But to throw out like ridiculous stuff like because it's not physical makes no sense. Because they all put a lot of work into getting there and getting to that level, and to shame it because it's not a physical sport and it's a mental sport instead is just ridiculous.
But see, again, you're calling it a sport, and it's not a sport.
No,
It is.
that's
It's a competitive nature thing. You sit down and you compete against each other face to face.
To the definition
on
of
whatever
sport.
it is.
Yeah, no, Grim.
Except it's a sport of the mind. You have to
Yeah.
react quickly. That's
Yeah.
what it's all about.
Okay, no, so that's another question we'll ask. Now, because I don't see a sport like that. I see a sport as anything recreational that's fun. And in our modern age, it's video games.
It's got to be competitive to be a sport.
That's
dude.
what-
If you're not
that's what
competing
my
against
definition
someone,
of
it's
sport
not a
is.
sport.
Call me old. I don't think that's a sport.
Now,
It's
why?
It's entertainment.
Well, yeah, but that's what.
It-
like,
it-
Also, is
yeah, but that's why I
yeah,
made the
but
point
so
about
is
the Native
football,
Americans.
baseball.
That's why,
it's
I made the point about
entertainment.
Native. That was just for entertainment. When they got done with their workday, they went and played High Life.
Yeah.
They just realized that people enjoyed watching them do it, so they started
Yeah,
so
That's
keeping
Even
track.
football,
It's like when you
baseball.
get together with friends and play video games, and after a month of playing Street Fighter, you start keeping track of the matches because it makes it a little more entertaining when you're competitive in it.
yeah. We all used to have game
Yeah.
nights.
yeah.
Yeah, and you start
Yeah,
tracking. and
remember
that's
that
you can.
freaking board when we kept track of GoldenEye for a freaking year?
Oh yeah, we had that board on the wall.
And every time they came over, we had people come over, and every time they came in, you want to buy in $5 in for the night, and we kept track of kills. And at the end of the year, the winner got all the money.
Yeah, and you
And
can
then
see that's a
winner would
very
turn around
early.
and
To let
it
you
up
know, this became a
alcohol,
very
we
big
do it
hot
again.
topic on Facebook. This one guy, Bernie, he's really debating it as well. He said, look up the definition of sport.
Yeah.
Like he's agreeing with you, Grim, saying that it's more mental than physical.
Yep.
Yeah. But that is where the debate is. So I want to get everybody's opinion, but I want this to branch off into our social media, into our Facebook, our Twitter, and on the comments on this YouTube when it goes up.
Yeah.
So I want everybody to leave their comment about where you feel this stands and where you think it's going forward, whether you agree with it or disagree with it.
And why?
Yeah, and why. We'd love to hear everybody's opinion because this is a very sensitive subject right now, and it's really like the changing of the guard.
And I do have one last thing. I did do a poll, whatever you call it. I did ask about 50 people since we've been talking about doing this, and only 2, you guys, said, "Oh yeah, definitely." So everybody
Well,
I
the
asked,
question is, are they people that watch esports? Because if you don't watch esports, your mind's going to be a lot more closed to the idea.
well,
of
here's
sport.
here's the thing. I just asked random people, and the percentage of people that actually play games is a lot lower than we think.
Yeah, but
But
yeah.
it's higher, but it's lower. So every one of them was like, "Of course
Yeah.
not. That's crazy."
and so everybody knows the demographic of where you ask these questions. It's in a rural area of Rhode Island.
Yeah.
So cities, you might get a different demographic of that. But so that was that, and we'd love to hear your comments either way. It doesn't matter whether you disagree or agree. We'd love to hear them both, please.